Hey everybody, I'm Ayo. I'm coming to you from Gowanus, Brooklyn, Lenape-Hoking, Turtle Island, homeland of the Lenape people. I just invite you to think about whose land you're on, who came before you. Welcome back to Anti-Oppression Yoga. So I wanted to take a moment today just to make a video about why I started this channel, what you can expect out of it, what I expect out of it. So I started this channel in the midst of COVID-19, and I was just seeing how much the yoga video online is dominated by thin white women in crop tops doing really difficult things. So I started this channel in the hopes of making yoga more accessible and how we are all working towards overcoming oppression. I hope if you get anything out of watching these videos, it is a sense of being able to take care of yourself and your own body, trusting your own body and your own limits, taking what you like, leaving the rest behind. The first series that naturally came out of that was something called Yoga for Everybody, which was after seeing these really difficult videos and then sort of switching over to physical therapy videos that were really dry, usually taught by men who were telling me to like tighten my body in certain ways. I was thinking about, well, how can I create something that nurtures a space for injury recovery and injury prevention that is not aggressive towards my body being a certain way? So in the Yoga for Everybody series, you'll see videos that are about how to either adjust your already existing yoga practices or actual practices geared towards specific injuries, disabilities, pain management, with the idea of narrowing in the focus to make yoga more inclusive. Now, I realize that by calling it Yoga for Everybody, that it will automatically be exclusive, that I won't be able to address every need in someone's individualized body, but it really is my hope that by bringing in that focus, that more people will find opportunities to practice. Following that series, I started to realize how I couldn't actually do this work without directly talking about oppression and naming it. For me, as an anti-racist facilitator and an organizer and a yoga teacher, I couldn't imagine myself trying to make these videos and not just being explicitly political about them. At the same time, I was also using my practice to figure out how to spawn and spur and sustain my social justice practices. So the next series that you'll see is what I'm calling Movement for the Movement, which is a series of videos that are geared towards activists and how to take some of the concepts of your activism practice and gear them towards your yoga practice. The last series that I started is just something called 8-Minute Morning, and I started that because I have found for myself that doing a really long yoga practice a couple times a week has not been as effective as doing a daily practice, some kind of daily somatic get into my body practice. So in that series, you'll also see something called From Earth to Sky, or How to Get Your Ass Out of Bed in the Morning, which is just starting supine and sort of how to sort of get yourself to standing. I am a petite, very loose-jointed, fairly able-bodied person who can spend a lot of their time in pain. So you won't be seeing in these videos a lot of pulling my foot behind my head or really deep, intense stretches. For me, most of these videos are about creating some kind of stability in the body, so flexibility and strength that sustain and support my everyday life. That means you probably won't be doing the splits here, and if that's what you want, I encourage you to go find it. There's plenty of yoga out on the internet that will teach you how to do that. That's not really what the focus is here. Right now we're in the middle of COVID-19 in New York City, so you're not going to see a whole lot of other people other than me, but I do hope that in the future you're going to see other teachers and practitioners sharing what their techniques are for injury recovery, how they integrate their cultural heritage into their practice, how they work through disability and adjust their yoga practice. It really is my hope that this will become a resource to many. It's really important for me to pay homage to the people who came before me, both on the land and in my ancestry and within yoga. However, you're not going to see me doing any chanting, any Sanskrit, any naming of the yamas or the niyamas, if you're familiar with that. It's not that that's not part of a yoga practice, it's just not a strong part of my practice. I made a choice early on in my yoga practice to really think about what is my own spiritual and cultural heritage and to go back into my family to sort of source what I could find. So So I encourage you in these practices to think about what is it that you lost through the process of racialization, colonization, immigration, assimilation. What was taken from you? How can you embrace your cultural heritage? Now, if you're a body of culture, as Resmaa Menakem would say, maybe that means that your cultural heritage was violently ripped from your people. And I would encourage you to think about how to engage in a cultural and spiritual practice in a way that provides your healing. If you are a body of white supremacy, also from Resmaa Menakem, I would ask you, what did you lose in the process of becoming white? When the world became racialized and your people got clumped, which it didn't happen all at once for white folks, right? It happened in different stages, and you became part of whiteness, what is it that you lost in your culture? And instead of thinking about taking on someone else's cultural practices, how can you source back into what you know from your people? All that said, these practices still will have somewhat of a spiritual grounding to them. There will be opportunities for you to bring in your own spiritual, cultural, religious heritage. The last thing that I'm going to say is that I know that I'm ultimately, like any human being, going to make mistakes. And I just invite you to remember as you're watching through a screen that I am a human and I do have vulnerabilities, as well as I really try to show up for accountability. So I encourage you to reach out to me, make special requests, tell me how you're responding to things, really to start more of a dialogue between us, knowing that dialogue is how we create a sense of accountability together. All right, y'all, I think that's it. Thanks for listening to me talk a lot, and really looking forward to practicing with you.